on the back.
Hey guys. Three strands.
Welcome to the Messy Top Knot Show.
Today, we're going to teach you how to make a top knot when you have 3 strands of hair like Brooke does.
Style with B squared.
Sorry, I was just admiring Carrie's messy bun, which
it always fell out in the back. So now we're,
I can't really
a whole situation going on.
Hi, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm super. How are you?
Good. We're
Hi,
back with another round of B2tv. I am Brooke B. Sellis, and I'll introduce Carrie. Carrie Keenan is our account manager for our enterprise size clients. So she handles all of the big, glorious accounts that need a lot of extra hand-holding. Just because a lot of our enterprise clients actually use social media for customer service, which I think is really smart and really cool, but it means Carrie gets to deal with the brunt of a lot of things. So we chose her to do this because she's a very happy, level-headed person. So thanks, Carrie, for being you.
Thanks for being the first time I've ever been referred to as level-headed in my entire life. And this, of course, is, wait, I don't know how to point on the camera.
You're like...
There we go. Brooke Sellis, our CEO and founder here at B Squared, and our queen of everything.
Oh gosh, no.
Real generic title.
Not a top knot.
Not a top knot.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Sorry. It's gonna be so bad.
Oh yeah. Get that puppy back up there. It's so beautiful. So we thought we would do kind of an AMA today because we want to do lots of AMAs later, which are Ask Me Anythings. And today we kind of cheated and we went to the team and we got a lot of the frequently asked questions that our clients have. But in the future, when we do an AMA, what we'll do is pop on to one of these B2tv lives and you can come on here and ask us anything. I mean, if you want to ask about the top knot, you can. But when I say ask me anything, I really mean for online media, social media marketing, online advertising. We can help you out with those. So today, let's go through and answer some of the most frequently asked questions our team receives on a regular basis. Carrie, I'll let you take the first one.
Well, I'm going to start with the first one that's going to set up kind of an overall theme to most of these questions. And my personal favorite, why did we just lose a whole bunch of followers? What did we do? Generally, this is the perfect, it's not you, it's not me, it's the platform. A lot of the platforms, and this is a very good thing that they are doing because they are calling out the bots, the Russian political Twitter accounts, the people that have passed away with Facebook accounts. They're cleaning out the followers to make things more, I want to say, more accurate. You're going to have less followers, but they'll be better. There'll be people that are actually people, which is always a good start. And who are interested in hearing what you have to say as a company, as a brand. They want to.
Actually, sorry to interrupt. I lost I don't know, 100 or so. We just were having this chat. We have this area where we all chat on a daily basis, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" Because all of the accounts started losing followers, and I lost. And I don't have a ton of followers. I think I have around like 7,000 or something like that. But I lost over 100 followers when Twitter recently went through their latest purge.
Every time, one thing I do, and this is just me being a little on the OCD side, whenever I see a follower drop, I immediately go to Google and I search Twitter cleanup or Facebook follower cleanup. And generally, by the time I get around to noticing it on stuff, on my personal at least, you'll find 4 or 5 articles explaining everything that's going on and why they're doing it and the methodology behind it.
That's a CMGR golden nugget, people. When you start to see followers drop, go do a quick Google search and see if they're going through a purge.
Or better yet, check the B Squared Twitter account.
Oh, or connect with that. So how often?
Have some articles that I can share out. I'll shoot them out to everybody later just at the link at the bottom.
Oh, perfect. Now, how often do you see like a cycle that this happens? Is it like once a month, once a quarter, or just random?
It's mostly been just random. I think it's when the platforms kind of start getting a lot of guff, like it was really big at post-election time, like, hey, what are these things? And the GDPR, whenever something big happens, you'll see that reflected in how the platforms deal with their followers.
Yeah, with Facebook, it was Cambridge Analytica, that whole debacle. So yeah.
Keep an eye on your account, keep an eye on the news, but remember that the followers you lose are not followers you wanted. They were the vanity metric. You don't need those bots that don't do anything and just screw up your engagement rate.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Get off my soapbox about that.
Well, we're going to have lots of soapbox moments today. But the second question we get a lot is it possible to growth hack my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook followers or fans? Or what are the best ways to grow my followers on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or whatever it may be? So in short, no. And we definitely do not recommend buying followers, which we, funnily enough, have been approached with more than a few times. Even though there's a ton of articles, who was it recently that did the really big article on buying fake followers? And they actually profiled, it was both celebrities and I think politicians who had a very high number of fake followers. I can't think, I'll make a note and we can post that link as well.
Add to the list. We should, and I'm just going to improv here. What we should do is going forward, not today, because obviously we're live and it didn't happen. We should add all our homework to a blog and have a blog with all our links, and we can just call it homework.
Homework from today's.
Here's what we talked about.
So again, our best advice here is not to get caught up in the number of followers that you have, and it's kind of a chicken and an egg scenario, because a lot of times people are looking for a certain number of followers to have a certain number of clout, or if they're on the speaking rounds or trying to get noticed as an influencer, obviously you have to have more than 5 followers. So we totally get that followers are important, but at the same time, you want to have followers who are engaged with you and following you because they're going to consume your content. They're going to click on that link or respond to a blog post that you put out, or click that form to go fill out a free demo or a lead consultation or whatever it may be. So the point of having eyeballs, right, is so that those eyeballs take action. The eyeballs really themselves are great, but they don't really count unless you have them taking action. So, if you're looking solely to grow your follower numbers, you could buy followers, but just keep in mind that A, we say that's a big no-no, and B, there are so many tools now that you can go out and you can actually see how many fake followers someone has. So a lot of these sites will say, hey, Carrie, you can buy 1,000 followers for $1, and these are real people. No, they're not. They're bots. And the technology is getting better and better, and they can sniff those bots out in a second. So how can you grow organically? Do some hashtag research. I think that's on Twitter and on Instagram. You can use hashtag research to go out and find a bunch of people who are in your industry, who are influencers who you might want to connect with, similar topic accounts, similar message accounts. Chances are that they're out there, they're sharing similar information. Then go in, so on Twitter or on Instagram, you can see who they're following and who's following them. Go into those accounts for a deeper dive and then do some following yourself. The best advice we have is if you want to be followed, you have to go follow, right? You can't, it's not a one-way street. Social is definitely a two-way street. So I think a lot of people go out there and they're like, I'm here, I'm fantastic, come follow me. And some of them really are fantastic. Most of our clients, all of our clients are fantastic and want to be out there and in the limelight, but it just doesn't work like that. Imagine going to a party and standing in the middle of the room and being like, I'm here, come talk to me.
I mean, I have entered a party that way in the past. Didn't work that great, but it was good for the laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, and there's a certain connotation that comes with that kind of person that you may or may not want. And then make sure that you're, telling great stories. You don't want to just be out there and be a robot. Here's my latest blog post. Please go click on it and leave me your comments. Tell some stories. Be interesting. Don't just talk about your industry. Or for me, it's not always about social media marketing. I get involved in little hashtag games on Twitter or on Instagram. For me, it's really more of like a personal site. It really is storytelling, but from a personal side, it's like the double B behind B Squared Media. So there's a lot of different ways I think you can get your message out there and get people to engage with you in an authentic way.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge one, is the authenticity behind it. And like I've been researching, this is just a personal plug, I've been researching the best puppy adoption related hashtags for my dog's new Instagram account. Because I am that girl. You're not daily.george. But I've been researching the best border collie hashtags because that's just what I do now.
But that's smart. I mean, that's exactly what I was just saying. Like,
to not drive my friends homework with just dog pictures.
Do your homework. It doesn't necessarily have to be hashtag research, but I think on Insta and on Twitter, that's a great way to do
you never know what you'll find.
Yeah. I do the same thing too. And from a personal perspective, when I'm like doing the stuff about the horses or like the sea life that we see, I'm constantly like looking at other people's hashtags and like geolocation type stuff. So I can post.
Yeah. Excellent for traveling too. Like,
yes.
Such good hashtags. I mean, not business related, but it makes a big difference when you're traveling to like research with tags before you go.
Yeah, so that's a great little golden nugget. Another, let's just say CMGR, which stands for Community Manager, if you don't know. Golden nugget would be to, when you're hashtagging or using a location, you could go into that location either by hashtag or if you have your location, geolocation turned on that particular platform, you can run in there, click on that, and then see what other people are posting about. And then you can find your hashtag for more things to talk about.
And in the land of no hashtags, we can just segue right into Facebook. And people that ask, how can we get more followers on Facebook? The easy answer is have great content and people will want to see it. However, to get people to initially see that great content, it's kind of becoming a pay to play. If Facebook is going to have a post from you that is organic and a post from you that is paid, they're just gonna only show people that paid one and not the organic one. So having a mix of paid and not paid is super helpful. But when you have organic, you have to really make it shine and then use some paying and some promoted and boosted stuff just to get it out there and get those initial eyeballs. And then when you get those initial eyeballs, you have to keep them. And great content's the best way to do that.
I think I'm having a good media mix too. So like making sure that you're not just posting a link to your blog every day or a link to third-party content. And third-party content, if you're not familiar with that, just means content that we've taken from someone else. So let's say Time does a piece on fake followers. Can't remember if it was Time or who it was, but anyhow, if we shared that onto the B Squared Facebook page as a link, that would be third-party content or curated content. And that's great to have in your media mix, but if that's all you're sharing, Facebook doesn't like that. So, make sure you're sharing photos. We see constantly that BTS or behind the scenes photos always work really well, no matter what industry we're working within.
Our Women Crush Wednesday series is probably the most popular thing we have. Like people love us. It's just they love seeing behind that door and like what people are saying and kind of like somebody's favorite emoji bio is this. Like people love that. It's really nice to give your audience that and really let them get to know you better.
Yeah, and that's a creative type of piece of content or type of content, but it still, I guess, falls under behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, you have to get creative with what you're sharing out there, and the storytelling is a big part of that type of piece of content. So I think, you have to think about that, and you also have to think about entertaining people, right? Why do people use social media? Well, think about why they go to the platforms that they go to. For Twitter, for me personally, it's news and connecting with certain people. Facebook, it's more of like an entertainment type place. Instagram, it's an entertainment type place. So you have to be thinking about having entertainment type content in your mix that's relevant to your brand or to your industry. So make it interesting, people.
And make it platform appropriate.
Yes.
Did I just give you the best segue?
You totally did. So another question that we get a lot is, Why can't I post the same thing everywhere? So when I come up with a piece of content, let's keep going with the blog example. Why can't I post that blog right away to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn all at the same time on the same day? And the answer, no. You can't. I mean, sure, you can. It's physically possible, but no, you shouldn't, because not all content is suitable for all platforms, as Carrie was saying. How many times, Carrie, have you seen where someone's shared, they've connected, which PS, this doesn't happen anymore. So thank goodness Twitter actually changed this, but I'll use it as an example. It used to be that you could connect Facebook to Twitter, and the tweet would go out onto Twitter, and it would have like that weird funky Facebook link, but it wouldn't be formatted appropriately, and it would make like 0 sense. So Twitter actually recently stopped allowing that to happen because different platforms require different content. Facebook, could be seen as like a more visual platform. Instagram is obviously the most visual. Twitter's more about like, here's that little snackable bite, and then clicking through to get more information on the link, or maybe conversational, or using hashtags, or using a tweet chat, which I love those on Twitter. But what do you say? Like because Carrie obviously interfaces with clients more than I do, but like, what's your patented answer for something like this?
Well, I think you can take the same point and make it 2 or 3 different ways. If you're sharing a picture of a widget, but you have and you want to post this picture of this widget to 3 different platforms, you're going to talk about it differently. You're going to use a slightly different tone of voice. Sorry, the dog is eating my desk right now.
Hi, George.
You'll want to be a little more, you want brevity on Twitter. You can be a little more interactive on Facebook, where you want to get that engagement going and have conversations going on in your thread on your page. And on Instagram and Twitter, you want to have hashtags that bring in people to see that content too.
Yeah, so, you use hashtags on Insta, but not on Facebook. And, I see a lot of people doing the same thing. They'll kind of take what they're sharing on Insta and then slap it on Facebook, and it has like all of those hashtags. And I'm like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, it can be the same thing. I can have 3 different posts about this rock, but you want to have them slightly tweaked.
Well, not only that, let's think about the audiences that each platform has as well. So like LinkedIn, we obviously know is more buttoned up, a little bit more professional. From what we tested with our clients, it's more of like a Monday through Friday platform. But Facebook is more, not as buttoned up. It's way more casual, way more using jargon and slang and whatnot. But it's also still an older crowd. If we want to reach a younger crowd, we head over to Insta, or in some cases Snapchat, and work with younger crowds there. And then Twitter, again. Twitter, actually, I think out of all of the platforms, no, LinkedIn and Twitter. Twitter has the most highly educated people with the most income per household, and LinkedIn is kind of in a similar boat. But also, I think the stat that I put together for some content the other day was like 40 something % of all millionaires are on LinkedIn. So if you're marketing to the affluent, you may want to be going to Twitter and LinkedIn to market to those type of people, whereas maybe on Facebook and Instagram, you wouldn't want to do that, because on Insta you're talking to people who still need some time to make their millions.
I don't see a lot of millionaire marketing over on Snapchat either.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not a snapper. You know me and the Snapchat don't get along. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps that one up. I mean, I think also too, just from a personal perspective, if I see someone posting the same piece of content on every single platform at the same time, or sharing content between platforms, I personally give them an unfollow, because I'm like, why would I follow you here, and here if I'm just going to get the same information at the same time? It doesn't make any sense for me to like be engaged with you anywhere other than maybe one platform. I'm not going to follow you on all 3 or 4 or whatever it may be.
The auto populate from Facebook, and it starts here on Facebook, but it's on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just not look. It does not look good on anyone, no matter how cool you are.
And then did we want to jump ahead? Because I see Chrissy's got a question in there.
Oh yeah, sure.
And this week might get a little acting going on. Hey ladies, is there a dollar amount you recommend to boost a Facebook post for, and what sort of time frame? And I think she's leading us into this very nicely.
We are. So let's jump ahead, and Carrie, you be the client and I'll be a representative from B Squared, and we'll act this out for you, Chrissy. So
just
enjoy this little skit.
I did lettering drama, so here we go.
Hi, client. How can I help you today?
Hi. How much did I spend on my campaign?
That's a great question. I'm curious, what are your objectives and what are the key performance indicators that you're looking for? What's the goal of this campaign?
Yeah, I can figure that out later. Just how much money do you need?
Well, I'm not really sure how much money you'll need until I understand what you're trying to accomplish, because there's a lot that goes into where we're sending people and how we're tracking conversions and the types of audiences that we're trying to target and how many other people we're bidding against, depending on what platform we use. So can you give me any sort of idea?
Well, no, we really don't have a budget set until we know what the social media is going to be.
Okay. So I
Just
guess
how much
with that information, I'm going to need all of your money.
And scene. There you go, Chrissy. I hope that was approved.
Yeah, so I think what it comes down to is we're always going to ask you first and foremost, like, what are you trying to accomplish with this ad? Are you trying to get people to subscribe to your blog, to your newsletter? Are you trying to get people to actually buy a product? Are you trying to get people to have a one-time payment for something, or are you trying to get something to have somebody to have a monthly subscription to something, and we need, the more months they hang on to that subscription, the better the customer lifetime value is. Who are we targeting? Where do those people spend their time? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Google? Are they on Twitter? Where are they? Are they on Instagram? So, I think from our perspective, what we like to do is figure out what that client goal is and what those key performance indicators are. And then afterwards, what we can do is find out also, hey, who are the people that you're trying to get to buy this thing or do this thing? And then we can go do a little bit of research on the platforms that the client wants to be present on. And then we can give a recommended budget. But really, it takes those pieces of information first. And additionally, what we really like to do is test the first 30 days. What we may want to do with, depending on what the client's goals and KPIs are, is test Facebook against Instagram against Google AdWords. And then really based on what happens with our ad copy and our graphics and the conversions that we get, then we can decide where we want to put the majority of the money. So there's so many variables that are involved in that question that it's hard to just say like flat out, like, here's a budget. I can tell you if you say you have $50 for a campaign and you want to make like $50,000, it's probably not going to work.
I like the all of it answer. I think that is should be the standard answer. We just need all of it and we'll figure it out from there. If
you don't have, any sort of parameters, then we shouldn't have any parameters on how much we spend either. Just give me all the money. So we'll skip ahead to the next one then, because this kind of follows in suit with advertising, and then we'll go back to content. But another question that we do get a lot is, what's the difference between a boosted post on Facebook, and what's the difference between an ad on Facebook? So ad versus boosted post, aren't they the same? And the answer is no, they are not the same. A boost is really where you take a couple of dollars and you're trying to get more eyeballs on that content. And we talked about eyeballs earlier. They're fantastic, but they don't necessarily lead to action. So your boost is out there screaming like, hey, look at me, look at me. Whereas an ad is really part of a bigger strategic plan, right? So it's more of a campaign. So an ad, you have a lot more targeting options and parameters through Facebook. With a boosted post, you're limited on who you can show that boost to. And then with an ad, there's a lot more bells and whistles around, again, like who you can target and what kind of campaign it is. So again, going back to those goals and KPIs, are you looking for brand awareness? Are you trying to get somebody to buy something? Are you growing an email list or some sort of marketing list? Boosts are totally okay in some situations, but we really feel that multiple points of contact and nurturing people through an actual entire advertising campaign is the best way to turn a cold audience into a warm lead. So our advice would be to run campaigns instead of boost. But if all you can do is boost, that's okay too, because as Carrie mentioned earlier, Facebook really is pay to play, and you're going to have to spend some kind of dollars to get seen.
And just jumping back, sorry, I just saw that question and got so excited. The other question we had is, are we posting too much or too little content? And that really depends on you. You can't say everyone has to post 3 times on Facebook and 12 times on Twitter and 2 times on Instagram, because it depends. It depends on your brand. It depends on your audience. It depends on what they want to hear. You might be having a great success posting 5 times a day on Facebook, and suddenly you decide, oh, that's great. If 5 is good, 10 is better. And your audience is just gonna turn away and say, hey, that's too much. Why are they posting again? I don't care. Or worse yet, they'll just unfollow you. They'll think you're spammy and just go away. And if you're posting too little, you might see people just excited just to see a post, like, hey, they posted a picture today on Instagram. I'm so excited to see that. That's great. So looking at what your audience has to say is huge. Knowing what they want. You're not going to know it immediately. It's going to take some time to kind of get that groove, get into that groove of how much to do. But if you keep monitoring it constantly, you'll be able to kind of ebb and flow as you need to. Like, hey, there's this event going on, so we know we're going to post more. So we might post a little less the day before or the day after, just to calm it down. You just want to keep an eye on what the market tends to bear for your content.
Yeah, and it's so different by client even. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes they don't even follow the industry norms.
Mm-hmm. I think I did read something recently that's been saying 5 posts a day on Facebook, which to me felt kind of excessive.
A lot excessive. Yeah, I think it should be based on engagement. I mean, that's what our agreements say, and that's kind of our another best practice for you, CMGR Golden Nugget. Based on engagement, you can post more or less. So if you're getting a ton of engagement and you're posting 3 times a day, bump to 5. And if you see that engagement dips, bump to 4. I think it's always kind of a testing ground. There is no like
find your sweet spot.
Blanket answer. Yeah. Don't I think take all of those best practices with a grain of salt too, because what works for one page may not work for yours. Some of these pages who are posting 5 times a day for optimal engagement have been on Facebook for a very long time. They have a very loyal audience who is constantly interacting with them there. And for someone who maybe is just starting out or has a very low community number on Facebook, I just see the 5 times being extremely excessive, and you getting like crickets on some of those posts, which is going to affect.
But it might not work for Bob's Auto Mechanics of Kimberly, Wisconsin.
Exactly. And then Bob's going to see less and less engagement on those posts, and that's going to count against you, Bob. Facebook, it does not like when you're putting posts out there and you're getting 0 engagement. So don't do it, Bob. Listen to us.
Stay back, Bob. Stay back. I'm so glad that was a made-up name.
I hope it was Bob Mechanic. If you're out there, this does not have to do with you.
It's nothing personal, Bob.
Yeah. So I think that was a great preview of a lot of the same questions that we get. Honestly, for 6 years now, we've gotten a lot of these same questions over and over and over. And don't worry, we'll open it up to you for an AMA coming up sometime soon, which again is an Ask Me Anything. And you guys can jump on with us on a B2tv Live. Ask us any of your questions about social media marketing, online advertising, and we'll be happy to help you out with any of the best practices and CMGR golden nuggets that we have.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.